What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Now, yesterday I posted, and when the news first broke, I posted on my social media, my Facebook, my Instagram, and y'all went in about this fight. Amir Khan announced he will be facing Chris Algieri. I don't even think he has a nickname, but anyway, Chris Algieri at 147, and throughout this video, you'll see some of the comments. I don't even have to go in on this type of fight, but I'm going to speak my mind and tell you what I think. But you guys can read some of the comments that I was receiving after the news broke. Now, this is a terrible, terrible decision in the career path of Amir Khan, as far as I'm concerned. Now, you could do whatever you want. Me, I'm a boxing fan. I know people in Khan's camp. I have no problem with Khan. He's put on entertaining fights, solid resume. But at the end of the day, I'm going to call it straight down the middle. And leading up to this, I feared this, and I made a video about Chris Algieri. And I have no problem with Chris Algieri either as a person. He seems cool. He has a likable personality, stays in shape, cool. But again, I call it how I see it. And I'm going to break down in this video why I'm not a fan of this fight. Some people, this is the funny thing. You get, when the bigger stars in boxing, you always get the fanatical fans who they'll justify anything. When Pacquiao fought Algieri, even though that wasn't a great fight, and I told you that then, people tried to justify it as make it sound like it was the best fight ever. This is, in fact, worse than when Manny Pacquiao fought Chris Algieri. And I'm going to explain that in this video as well. But it's funny to see the diehard fans who aren't they're clearly not objective when it comes to it. Whatever their fighter does is great. You know what I mean? The fighter can rape a boy. Their fighter can push old ladies in the crosswalk into oncoming traffic. It's, oh, he had to do that. He had to teach her a lesson. You know what I'm saying? People will find a reason to justify. Me, I'm not like that. I have favorites. If Roy Jones Jr., one of my all-time favorites, if he was like, you know what, I'm fighting Rod Selka, Pensacola, I would be like, no, what are you doing, Roy? Because I'm a boxing fan above a Roy Jones Jr. fan. You know what I'm saying? I'm a fan of the sport first and foremost. So it's funny to see these congressional hearings that you guys have when anytime a fighter does some bullshit, you guys try to justify it and you guys make it like this is the greatest fight and try to talk it up like you're the promoter, like you're losing money or gaining money if this fight flops or if it is successful. Me, I'm not like that. If it's a good fight, I'll tell you I really feel it's a good fight. And the other thing is with me, I'm not the type to just point the finger. I don't just come up with the problem like some of you guys do. I don't come up with the problem. I actually have solutions in this video. So not only am I going to tell you why I don't like this fight, I'm going to also tell you what fights were better and why. So, Amir Khan, Chris Algieri. Reason I don't like it. Amir Khan's on a win streak. He's perfecting his style with Virgil Hunter. Fighting Chris Algieri, in my opinion, is a backtrack. You already beat Devin Alexander, who has a far greater resume than Chris Algieri. Win, lose, or draw, he's been in there. Devin Alexander's fought DeMarcus Corley. He's been in there with Marcos Maidana, Randall Bailey, a power puncher who had a belt at the time. He's been in there with a ton of different guys. Timothy Bradley. He's been in there with the guys like Lucas Matisse. Far better resume than Chris Algieri. And you beat him easy. You beat him handedly. Through the course of 12 rounds, Devin couldn't do nothing with you, right? So you look at Chris Algieri, his best wins, very best wins. You could say, oh, he fought Pacquiao. Great, but he got washed against Pacquiao. So the most he gained from that was an ass whooping and experience. Then you look at Ruslan Provodnikov, a tooth and nail type of fight, badly hurt. Give him props for having heart and going the distance with Ruslan when he was badly hurt in the first round, knocked down twice, if I'm not mistaken. His eye was all bashed up to shit. But you want a split decision. And you can go to my channel right now, immediately after, like I do when I do my post-fight commentary and reaction and reviews or whatever. I said Ruslan Provodnikov won that. You know what I'm saying? Going back after watching it a second time at that time, okay, you could say Ruslan was searching or whatever. Bottom line is this. It was a split decision win. Whether you picked Ruslan like me and Dan Rayfield did, whether you picked Chris Algieri and said he won, Either way, it was a close fight. Either way, it wasn't a dominant fight or anything like that. So it was a split decision victory, and you got a title. And then other than that, your best win is Emmanuel Taylor. Now, the funny thing is, I don't know what it is. Like I said, I made that video with Chris Algieri, the Great White Hype or Hope. And I really don't see what people are, what are they rating him off of. People are leaving comments like trying to justify this fight. And they're saying, man, but Chris Algieri's better than Adrian Broner. Based on what? What has Chris Algieri done? Broner, win, lose, or draw. Better resume than Chris Algieri. He's been in there with Maidana. He's been in there with Paulie Malignaggi. He's been in there with the lightweight champion at the time, Antonio DeMarco. He's been in there with Daniel Ponce de Leon, another tough, close fight. He has a better resume than Chris Algieri. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, Broner has fought at welterweight 2 times. Paulie Malignaggi and against Maidana. I'm not saying they were his best performances, but he has that experience at that weight. He's fought there before. So, you know what I mean? If anything, maybe he's more mature, his body's more mature, and he'll fit up at welterweight better than he did a couple fights ago. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? Because he's been looking pretty big. So when people say Chris Algieri's better than Broner, stylistically, they're totally different fighters. But what has done, my question to you is this. What has Chris Algieri done that just completely trumps Adrian Broner? His resume ain't better. You could say, oh, Chris Algieri beat Emmanuel Taylor easier. Yeah, he outboxed him, but Broner went to war with him or whatever and had a competitive fight, and he had a knockdown, which Chris Algieri did not have. So again, my question, unless you're just trying to like cover for Amir Khan, what has Chris Algieri done better than Broner? So that's one fight that's better, in my opinion, than Algieri and Khan. Because again, Broner has fought at welterweight and he has a better resume. And it makes more financial sense. And it will be, in my opinion, more entertaining. Broner's more of a talker. Whether you love him or hate him, he's more of the villain. I know Broner for a fact in his past fights, he talks. I don't think anyone could really dispute that. He talks. Chris Algieri is more of a mild-mannered, Harvard educated or whatever school he went to, New York, educated person. He's not, he's not much of he didn't really trash talk Pacquiao or anything. He just thought he would win. So that's a better fight. Broner versus Khan is a better fight. Kell Brook, I don't even have to go into too much detail. Kell Brook, easily IBF champion, and it's at your weight class that you currently fight, welterweight. He's fought at welterweight. He's undefeated. Kell Brook's been calling you out. Eddie Hearn said they want to make that fight much better fight. It's more telling fight. Other thing, I keep saying this. It's very hard for me to, aside from backtracking, it's very hard for me to say Amir Khan has graduated to the next level or he's this improved fighter until I see him deal with the things that gave him problems in the current situation. And by that I mean he's had problems with inside fighting, pressure fighters, and hitters, people who can crack and have punching power. So if I don't see him take Kell Brook's best shot or Keith Thurman's hard shot or whatever, then even a Sean Porter, that's a better fight too. But again, if I don't see him in those same situations, then how could I say he's improved? You know what I'm saying? It doesn't. You're not really being tested, and that's my biggest thing with this Khan Algieri fight. Algieri had no punching power at 140. Ruslan, whether you thought he lost or not, walked through all of his shots. He has a low 6 to 8 KOs out of 20 plus fights or whatever it is. I don't know off the top of my head. He has no pop. And again, if you want to argue these facts, please make yourself look dumb and leave a comment and tell me Chris Algieri has power. So again, if I don't see Khan in there with somebody who could crack or somebody who could apply pressure, and that's their MO. Devin Alexander is not a pressure fighter. So that's why he got outboxed. I don't want to see Khan in against somebody who does a Sugar Ray Leonard Ali shuffle. What is that doing with no offense? Chris Algieri showed me nothing versus Pacquiao that lets me believe that he'll beat Amir Khan at all. Some people are like, man, I hope Chris Algieri hits him with the lucky punch. It's not going to happen. I'll put money on it, man. I'll put money on Khan. So if you think I'm bashing Khan, why would I pick him to win? Chris Algieri's not gonna, even if he beat Amir Khan some kind of way, it won't be by stoppage. Trust me, he's not equipped to do that. Amir Khan, you can say he has a glass chin or whatever you want to say, but he's not beating him via stoppage. Trust me. You know what I mean? If anything, I would say Devin Alexander has more power than Chris Algieri. Devin Alexander stopped Lee Purdy, who is Chris Algieri stopped in recent memory. And those are in lower divisions, let alone welterweight. But anyway, moving on. I can't, like I said, Khan is just at a standstill. I can't rate him higher. I already know he's a good boxer and he's fast as shit and he has the ability to move in and out. He's getting better with his style. But until you take that the next level test, that's like me being in the 6th grade, right? And I have a 6th grade reading level. And I've already proven that I'm much better reader than the other 6th graders, right? And then let's say I graduate and then I become a 7th grader and I'm still reading 6th grade books. Then I go up to 8th grade, still reading 6th grade books. Then I go up to high school. I'm in the 9th grade. I'm a freshman. I'm still reading 6th grade reading level books. Then I get up to a sophomore. I'm reading 6th grade level books, right? Can you honestly say by my junior year in high school, I'm reading 6th grade level books that I'm the best reader? Can you say you're just a phenomenal reader? You're still reading Cat in the Hat and you're fucking 17 years old. No, you can't say that. And I'm not saying Devin Alexander is a 6th grade reading level fighter, so don't interpret my analogy to that degree. What I am saying though is stylistically, Khan has always done good with boxers. If you can box and you try to outbox him, you might get shredded up. Paulie Malignaggi, a guy doesn't really have much power, got tore up by Amir Khan. You know what I mean? Kotelniks, the McCloskeys, Devin Alexander, Luis Collazo had a really weird game plan, not much power, and he was like stalking, but he was walking in like he was Roy Jones Jr. with his hands by his waist. So, I mean, again, that shows me a pattern. If you try to outbox him, that's your best chance of winning because he's phenomenal at that game. He's good at boxing. So Devin Alexander, not a pressure fighter. That's what he tried to do, right? So when I say the 6th grade reading level, my whole thing is I got to see evolution. If you're a junior in high school, but you're reading 6th grade books, that doesn't show me nothing. That doesn't show me that you've evolved beyond a 6th grader or a 6th grade capacity because you're a junior reading 6th grade books. And that's my point with Khan. I want to see him evolve. Show me that you've improved and now you're equipped to deal with a guy with power or relentless pressure. Show me your inside fight game has improved. Show me that you can take a punch and know what to do in the heat of battle. Because in the past, I've seen Khan and he's got frazzled. He looked a bit frantic when he got clipped with something big. Watch the Maidana, maybe round 7. This is all off the top of my head. I don't know the exact numbers, but Maidana Khan, that fight, he got clipped with something hard in the later rounds, and he was just like skipping around and stuff like that. You look at the Danny Garcia fight, round 3 and round 4, he was getting knocked down a gang of times. He wasn't clinching when he needed to. You know what I mean? He wasn't fighting the effective fight for somebody who's hurt. So to me, I got to see him put in a situation, not even saying he'll get clipped with those same shots because maybe he's improved beyond that, but I got to see it. And I want to see how he responds if, in fact, he does do it. And I want to see him in there with somebody who is capable of delivering that. Another better fighter or a better fight is Maidana Part 2. Maidana's an improved fighter, plus he brings that relentless pressure, and he has power, he has pop, he's fought at welterweight, a better fight than Chris Algieri. Another better fight, Robert Guerrero. If you're going to pick someone off a loss, pick a guy like Guerrero. Guerrero has a better name. He's been in there with the undefeated #1 guy, Mayweather, right? He's been in there with Andre Berto. He beat an undefeated puncher in Selçuk Aydin. He's fought Keith Thurman, probably definitely in the top 3 punchers at welterweight, right? And he went the distance with him, a feat that a lot of other guys, a lot of other welterweights even, haven't been able to do against the one-time power or whatever. He showed you tremendous heart. So again, if you're going to pick somebody who's off of a loss, That seems a lot more suitable because Robert Guerrero, at the very least, we know he could take a punch, and at the very least, he has a better resume. At the very least, he's fought at welterweight before. We can say those things. Chris Algieri, even his Pacquiao fight wasn't at the full welterweight. It was at a catchweight. Now, you want to talk about other good fights, just to throw it out. So I said Broner, I said Brook. Robert Guerrero is a better fight. Marcos Maidana Part 2 is a better fight. I really sincerely believe all of these. Keith Thurman is another better fight because, again, Keith Thurman's undefeated. He has a belt. He has the style, the boxer puncher, and the massive punching power to prove or disprove how far Amir Khan has come. If I see him in there and he takes Keith Thurman shots and goes the distance and, you know, he gets clipped and knows how to recover better, then okay, he's a tall order for anyone in the division. But until I see that, it's hard for me to say that. Sean Porter, another person. Sean Porter is aggressive, awkward. He'll rough you up. He doesn't even care about really accuracy. I'm not saying he doesn't care, but he doesn't really have accuracy. Sometimes he'll punch you in the arm or whatever. So beat him better than Kell Brook beat him. Those things would be impressive to me. Now, moving on. I'm going to tell you why the Manny Pacquiao fight versus Chris Algieri is not as bad as Amir Khan fighting Chris Algieri. And then that'll pretty much wrap this video up. So, Manny Pacquiao fought an undefeated Chris Algieri. Right? Amir Khan's fighting Chris Algieri off of a loss. An embarrassing loss. A loss where he got knocked down 4 to 6 times. And the reason I give you a range is because some of them were slips or whatever. But on records, it's 6 knockdowns. Some of those were qualifiable knockdowns. Some of them were slips. Despite anything else, he got washed. It was lopsided. He did nothing with Pacquiao. He moved his feet and moved around the ring, burned energy, and got clipped with a bunch of shots. So Pacquiao beat the undefeated version. Plus, Pacquiao, if you really know anything about boxing, he's a small dude. He's not really big. I met him. You know what I'm saying? He's not a big dude. He's not tall or whatever. So he does against guys that are 5'10" or whatever Chris Algieri is. He definitely has a size disadvantage. Not saying that Chris Algieri can pop, because I told you in this video he doesn't have any punching power. But at least he had the frame. So if he used his frame better or had more just intangibles, then that could have posed some kind of problem maybe for Pacquiao just based on his frame and if he had a good stiff jab and longer arms than Pacquiao. Chris Algieri versus Amir Khan, they're about the same height. Chris Algieri's about 5'10", 5'10 and a half. So is Amir Khan. So he doesn't really bring that advantage. He doesn't have a size advantage. I wouldn't say he has a power advantage. So when you look at Pacquiao, Pacquiao fought the undefeated version of Chris Algieri. So his confidence hopefully should have been high, especially since he allegedly beat Ruslan Provodnikov and he had a belt. Then Pacquiao gave up a lot of height, reach, and stuff to Chris Algieri, whereas Amir Khan is not going to give up a bunch of height and reach advantages to Chris Algieri because they're about the same build, about the same size. Pacquiao fought him at a catchweight. I'm not a fan of catchweights, but at least it wasn't forcing Chris Algieri all the way up to 147 of uncharted territory. It was closer to the weight that he had been fighting at. I mean, simple math. He'd been fighting at 140. He fought Pacquiao at 144. Now he's going to have to go up even more and fight at 147. And if you remember in the Pacquiao weigh-in, Chris Algieri came in overweight initially when he weighed in versus Pacquiao. So overall, Pacquiao versus Algieri wasn't a great fight. I told you he was getting his ass whooped by Pacquiao, and I was dead right. And that still was better than Amir Khan versus Chris Algieri. Last thing I will say is this. The reason people are being so hard on Amir Khan versus this fight is very simple. And I told you this before this fight was announced, when it was just a rumor. These fighters need publicists. It's what you say and what you put out there in the atmosphere, in the media. These are the things that people are going to hold you accountable for. Amir Khan, very confident in his skills. He'll say X, Y, and Z. He'll say these different things. And when people hear you say those things, and then later you do something else, they're like, wait, I'm no dummy. You said Kell Brook needs to fight Keith Thurman. He needs to fight A-level competition. You said Kell Brook is fighting JoJo Dan, who's a C class. He's a C class opponent. You said that. And you said he's cherry picking by fighting his mandatory, a C class opponent, right? Then you fight a guy who's off of a loss. JoJo Dan was a mandatory. JoJo Dan was not off of a loss. Chris Algieri is not your mandatory. Chris Algieri is off a loss. So, again, this is exactly why I said in that video, boxers need PR people. They need publicists because they're too free. They get too free with, not everybody, but some of them, they get too free with their interviews. You know what I mean? They'll do one with Fight Hype, Ellie, or whoever, you know what I'm saying? And it's conflicting information that you're putting out. You can't say Kell Brook needs to fight all these deadly guys and Keith Thurmans and, oh, yeah, I think Kell Brook should fight Maidana. He should fight Sean Porter. He should fight Keith Thurman. But you fight Chris Algieri. How does that work? You know what I'm saying? How are you going to tell the next man who's a champion in your division that he needs to fight X, Y, and Z, all these deadly, dangerous guys which are 50-50 fights, and then you fight Chris Algieri? These things don't make sense to me. And I don't care what anybody says. You guys could get mad and you suck. This is a good fight. No, it's not. And again, if you think it's such a great fight, give me your PayPal address. Let's bet each other that when this does happen, Chris Algieri won't win. And if he does win, it'll be something controversial. He's not going to win in a good fashion, a dominant fashion where he just went in there and blasted Amir Khan. So put your money where your mouth is. If you think this is such a great fight, put your money on Chris Algieri, the great white hope, if that's what you really feel. Other than that, I think Khan should have definitely picked Brook, Broner, Keith Thurman, Sean Porter, Maidana, Robert Guerrero even, all the guys that I mentioned in this video. And the other thing, you can't say, I want the Cottos, I want Pacquiao, I want Mayweather. Just because Pacquiao fought Algieri and got this fight does not mean it's going to work for you. It's not like Berto was the gateway for Mayweather fights. That's not how it works. Like, oh, so-and-so beat Berto, Victor Ortiz beat Berto and got the fight. And then Robert Guerrero beat Berto and got the fight. It's not because of Berto specifically. It had something to do with Victor Ortiz was a commodity. He could make some money and fight him. He was a southpaw, he's young, athletic, and then they made the fight. Robert Guerrero was Mayweather's mandatory, so they made the fight. So just beating a beltless Chris Algieri doesn't guarantee you a Mayweather fight. And Mayweather's not even guaranteed to beat Pacquiao. People have the speculation, but that fight has not happened yet. You know what I'm saying? So to me, I don't know what Khan's deal is like with that fight, but it just does nothing for him. Like, beating him does not prove anything. That doesn't prove that he could beat Keith Thurman to me. It doesn't prove that he could beat Kell Brook. It's more or less a stay busy fight. You know what I mean? And he actually has more to lose than he has to gain, because if he doesn't look spectacular, that takes his stock down. So if you're going to take a risk like that anyway, you might as well take a risk and fight the right competition. Like I said, even a Robert Guerrero is a better fight. So I really don't understand his argument at all, how he's saying he wants Mayweather and Pacquiao, but you fight Chris Algieri, a guy who got beat up bad in his last fight. You think that's going to get you the fight you want? I'm not seeing it. Drop me a comment. Let me know if you are. Let me know what you think. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off.